What's going on, guys? Apathettic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between. And today is a dark day. The Crucible has finally broke me and forced me to throw together the most toxic build slash loadout for Warlock that I could actually think of, but turned out to actually be a really great build for sniping as well. So I'm going to cover the loadout itself, why it's so toxic, but also cover why it's so beneficial for sniping. Let's get into it. Getting into the loadout or build itself in terms of our armor and mods, there isn't anything crazy that we are doing here. My armor is high in recovery and discipline to help ensure that I can get my health back as quickly as possible and get my grenade back as quickly as possible as well. For mods, I'm rocking 4 discipline mods and 1 recovery mod, which brings me to tier 9 recovery and tier 7 discipline. I'm also rocking enhanced bomber, which grants even faster grenade cooldown when using your class ability. This mod synergizes nicely with Warlock because Warlocks are typically going to have higher recovery, and the higher the tier of recovery, the faster you get your class ability. So with enhanced bomber, having a higher recovery indirectly impacts how fast I'm going to get my grenade back. From there, this is where we really are getting into the toxic part of this loadout, and it all starts with Controverse Hold. What else could it be for Warlock, which is arguably one of the cheesiest and just most ridiculous things in the game right now. And what is so cheesy about this exotic isn't so much the one-hit kill capability of handheld supernova, but the damage resistance you gain when charging your grenade. It essentially turns you into this tank that can absorb a ton of damage. Oh, and by the way, returns a random amount of grenade energy on hit. So balanced. From there, we move on to the other toxic part of this build, and that's the last word. Now, I can't speak for console, but on PC, the last word is deadly accurate and has one of the fastest, if not the fastest, time to kill in the game. You can literally melt someone in half a second if you hit all crits, and just under a second if you hit all bodies. I then pair this with a sniper to change things up, and because with Controverse and last word, I feel pretty confident that I have the close range locked down. Now, we really have 2 things to discuss with this build. First thing we have to address with this build is just how toxic it is. If you guys haven't noticed, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of cheese in the Crucible right now. A lot of weapons and builds that allow you to get away with things you shouldn't, or very low effort abilities or weapons that could one-shot enemies. Now, I tried to take the high road for so long, guys. I really did. But it got to a point where I needed to adjust the way I approached the game for my own sanity. I was putting limitations on myself for the sake of, and I quote, only using things that take skill. And while I still believe that to be true to a degree, the Crucible isn't at a place right now where that mindset is 100% viable. So as a result, I threw on Controverse Hold, and I threw on the last word, and I started going to town. And it was during this, and this is the second thing I want to discuss, and that's I realized how much this build supports sniping in Destiny 2. Because yes, while I'm using some cheesy weapons and exotics, I'm always trying to see how I can still improve my game. And one aspect of my game I'm trying to work on that I haven't really touched is my sniping. And if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you know I've always been like, I don't snipe, I don't like having teammates that snipe, all these different kind of things. So I'm trying to adjust my mindset and work on something that I haven't really tackled before. Now, this loadout is great for someone who is trying to improve their sniping, but maybe you're struggling against shotgun rushers or other close quarters players. Starting with the last word, this is basically a broken close to mid-range hand cannon that absolutely melts your opponents and is great for unloading on shotgun rushers or pacing your shots at a distance with a little more accuracy to be efficient in the mid-range. The other thing I love about pairing the last word with a sniper is if you run out of special ammo, you can freely push around the map, and you don't have to be as concerned with people trying to push you with a shotgun, since the last word can be so effective at closer ranges. Compared to if you pair the sniper with another hand cannon, you may be still a lot stronger at the long to mid range, but in those closer ranges, you're gonna have to be a lot more concerned with shotgun rushers, since you may not be able to kill them as quick. Now, the last piece to this, of course, and the ultimate shotgun and basically ultimate everything counter is Controverse Hold. This is great for snipers, and it's kind of like the ultimate get out of jail free card because of how quickly this ability charges up and how much damage resistance you gain while your grenade is charging. It allows you to be extra careless when sniping, and what this has allowed me to do was continue to work on my awareness when sniping, but also if I make a mistake, it doesn't always have to cost me a death. I can always just quickly, as someone's pushing me around the corner as I'm coming out of scope, charge up my Controverse hold, one shot him because, you know, that's just what it does, and move on and learn from that experience and try to practice improving my awareness a little bit more. And I'm not gonna lie, I may or may have not abused this a little bit from time to time, but I didn't feel good about it, okay? Overall, guys, I went into this trying to create a very toxic, almost revenge build for all these other people that are using these similar types of builds. But what I ended up leaving with was I found a build that actually allowed me to be a little bit more carefree as I try to improve my sniping and have a more well-rounded understanding of different weapons. And for me, that's what the current PvP meta in Destiny 2 has become. It's not so much about trying to be honorable and focus on the things that only take skill, but instead shifting my mindset to focus on utilizing some of these things to help me fine-tune my game and feel less frustrated. I know a lot of us out there are feeling really frustrated with the state of PvP right now, whether it's lack of rewards, the sandbox, whatever, but trying to focus on little aspects within your game that you can still improve on doesn't mean you always have to try to be the most honorable or the most skillful. Don't be afraid to try a couple of these things out, guys. I can say, as much as I didn't want to do it, once I did, I don't want to say I enjoyed it per se, but I felt a lot less frustrated. With that, thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as it's a free way to support me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Warlock. 3 opponents down. Two for one. That's why we have fire. So much glory, so little time. Keep this up and the battle is yours.